My name is Vanessa. I'm an adult woman, and even though I'm not 19 anymore and not a kid anymore, somehow in that house they never allowed me to grow past the version of me they created, the one who was always supposed to be lesser than my sister Lauren. It was always understood, spoken and unspoken. Lauren was the jewel. Lauren was the princess. Lauren deserved spotlight. Lauren deserved softness. Lauren deserved celebration. And I existed as background furniture to make her stand out more. Their words, their energy, their tone, it never changed. The closer her wedding got, the more they acted like I was a threat simply by existing in the same gender category as her. I wasn't even a bridesmaid. Lauren told me months ago, casually over breakfast, that I didn't aesthetically match the aesthetic energy of the lineup, whatever that meant. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. So, the day before her wedding, we were at the house doing final packing, dress steaming, rehearsal details. The house was full of expensive flowers, loud planners, shoes lined up like a fashion museum, and my mom fussing around Lauren like she was preparing her for an Olympian performance. I kept mostly to myself. I wasn't starting anything. I wasn't pushing for attention. I was staying quiet. I had my hair curled because I had an engagement dinner later with a friend group from work, not even related to the wedding weekend. I put light makeup on. Literally, just soft blush, a little mascara. Lauren walked into the room and stared at me like I committed a crime. "You're wearing makeup the day before my wedding?" I blinked. "I have a dinner thing." Mom walked in immediately, like Lauren sent a silent alarm. She scanned my face like she was evaluating whether my existence posed a visual threat. "You don't need makeup. You don't need to try this hard," Mom said. "You don't look like the type that can pull it off naturally. Just stop." Lauren smirked, arms crossed. "Why do you always pretend you're competing with me?" "I'm not competing with you," I said quietly. Mom stepped closer. "Well, don't try to be pretty the day before her wedding. People will talk. They'll think you're desperate." I stood there frozen because I couldn't believe this was real dialogue between a mother and daughter. This wasn't even jealousy. This was hatred disguised as image management. Lauren laughed under her breath. "She can't accept her role. Some people are meant to be filler in the background." Mom reached her hand up suddenly and grabbed my chin. It shocked me. I tried to pull back, but she held me and said under her breath so quietly it chilled me, "I'm not letting you ruin her spotlight." "And with her nails?" She scraped across the side of my cheek. Not a tiny flick, not playful. She dragged her nails across the skin hard enough to leave lines, immediately red and stinging. I gasped and stepped back, holding my face. Lauren laughed, full sound. "Oh my God, Mom, that's actually hilarious." Mom shrugged like this was normal and casual. "You'll be fine tomorrow. Stop acting dramatic." This is what happens when you get too full of yourself. I stood there staring at them, mother and daughter bonding over injuring me like it was a joke, like it was a part of bridal prep entertainment. They walked out of the room gossiping about seating arrangements again like nothing happened. I slowly sat on the edge of the bed, touching my cheek, feeling a burn that wasn't just skin deep. This wasn't jealousy. This was ownership. They truly believed my face existed only to make Lauren look superior next to it. I didn't cry. Not one tear. But in that moment, sitting there alone in that room, I realized something terrifyingly real. If I stayed silent this time, they'd escalate. And they would keep escalating every time they sensed I was starting to have my own identity outside of Lauren's shadow. This didn't end here. This wasn't just a wedding problem. This was who they were. So I got up slowly, put ice gently against the side of my face, and I grabbed my phone. Because I wasn't staying in that house another night. And I wasn't letting them walk into tomorrow like they owned the world without consequences. I texted the one person who would be on my side, and this time, I wasn't warning someone because I was scared. I was warning them because I was done. I stood outside on the back porch because I couldn't breathe inside that house anymore. The smell of expensive flowers, hairspray, bridal perfumes, all of it suddenly felt like poison I'd been breathing my whole life. The person I texted was my cousin Ava, not my sister's best friend, not my mom's inner circle puppet. Ava, the only person in my bloodline who ever saw through them. She called instantly. "What happened?" she asked, voice sharp, protective, already bracing herself because she knew my family. "My mom scratched my face," I said quietly, "because I looked too pretty the day before the wedding." Ava didn't respond with disbelief. She didn't say, "No way." She didn't ask, "Why would she do that?" She just exhaled. Of course she did. Ava told me to take photos immediately, from every angle. I took them. My cheek was red and raw, visible proof. She said, "Vanessa, you cannot sleep in that house tonight. She will do worse tomorrow." And she was right. So I packed a duffel bag quietly, just a few essentials, makeup remover wipes, one change of clothes, charger, my purse. I told no one. I walked down the hallway like a ghost, except I wasn't detaching. I was fully aware, fully awake, fully done. Lauren and Mom were in the living room laughing with champagne glasses like the universe existed to celebrate them only. There was a wedding planner woman there, doing seating chart adjustments, smiling at their cruelty because she thought it was just dramatic rich family personality. Mom glanced at me as I walked toward the front door. "Fix your attitude before tomorrow," she said, not even looking directly. Lauren tilted her head at me smug. "And cover that red mark. Nobody needs to see your desperation on my big day." I stared at her for 2 seconds. Then I walked out without answering. Ava pulled up 15 minutes later. Black SUV, hood up, serious face. The second I got in the passenger seat, she saw my cheek and her eyes flooded with rage. "They don't deserve to be protected anymore," she said. "You've defended them your entire life. No more." We drove to her apartment. I laid in her guest room bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the thousands of tiny humiliations I normalized because I thought family meant loyalty no matter what. Now I was realizing, loyalty without respect is slavery. At midnight, Ava knocked quietly. She had an idea, not poetic, not symbolic, not silent, real impact, real consequences. "Vanessa," she said, sitting at the edge of the bed, "what if tomorrow you do not allow them to control the narrative of who you are in that wedding?" I sat up. She opened her laptop. "And what if tomorrow we use their own obsession with image against them?" She reminded me there would be dozens of high-profile guests, wealthy in-laws, expensive photographers, vendors, their entire social climbing circle all in one room. They had planned that wedding like it was their personal royal coronation day, their prestige, their pride, their social ranking, their status. That wedding was their currency. "For once," Ava whispered, "you get to be the one who decides how you show up, not them." And right then, the revenge began forming, not to humiliate for revenge's emotional satisfaction, but to hit them where they actually fear losing most. Their status world, their kingdom, their social crown. The next day wasn't going to be their show anymore. Not this time. The next morning, I didn't return to my parents' house. Ava drove me straight to the venue 2 hours before the wedding because she knew the chaos would already be boiling behind the scenes. I walked in wearing the calmest expression of my entire life. Not angry, not shaken, not desperate. Just absolutely finished with letting them write my identity. I checked my cheek in the bathroom mirror. It was faintly red, just enough to still see what she did. I didn't cover it. Not with makeup, not with concealer, not with anything. This wasn't a poetic metaphor. This was physical proof of who they were. And I wasn't going to hide reality for their PR show. When my mother saw me walk in, her face immediately dropped. "You were supposed to stay hidden this morning," she hissed under her breath. Lauren turned slowly in her gown, glamorous, sparkling, perfect princess bride energy, until her eyes locked onto my cheek again. "You still didn't cover that?" she spat. "No," I said simply. Mom grabbed my wrist and tried pulling me into a storage hallway like she was going to fix my face again. But Ava stepped right between us like a shield. "She doesn't need to hide," Ava said firmly, loudly enough that the makeup artist, coordinator, and 2 bridesmaids heard. Mom glared at Ava like she wanted to rip her in half. "This is family business. Stay out of it." Ava smiled cold. "Good. Then let's let family see what your version of family looks like." I walked away from them and went directly to the group of seated vendors who were placing floral displays. Wedding photographers included, the type who instantly catch things visually, the type who see everything because they're trained to. I asked one of them, "Can you please take a picture of my cheek clearly? I want to remember this part of the wedding that everyone conveniently tries to pretend doesn't exist in families like ours." They paused, confused, concerned. Then they took the picture. That was step 1. Step 2 happened when Lauren screamed across the ballroom, "Stop trying to be pretty, Vanessa. You always do this." That sentence echoed in the venue like a gunshot. Heads turned. Vendors froze. 2 of her fiancé's family members looked disgusted, and I didn't argue back. I didn't yell. I calmly answered, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Your mother scratched my face yesterday so I wouldn't look prettier than her daughter on her wedding weekend." Silence spread like shockwave electricity. The photographer who took my photo earlier immediately looked at my cheek, then at my mother, then at Lauren. 2 bridesmaids exchanged looks. One literally mouthed, "What?" Social death is not poetic. It is immediate. Mom lunged toward me to drag me away, but security stopped her because she looked hysterical, unhinged. The coordinator whispered to the groom's mother, and within minutes the groom pulled Lauren aside because this wasn't cute sister drama anymore. This looked dangerous, disgusting, abusive. Lauren looked back at me with panic finally replacing entitlement. "You ruined my day," she choked. "No," I said. "Your mom ruined your image trying to destroy mine." Security escorted my parents outside. The groom's parents demanded they leave the venue before ceremony. And just like that, their kingdom, their social circle, their prestige crowd, all turned on them. Because real people with real class don't respect cruelty as family humor. The wedding still happened, but guess who wasn't allowed to attend anymore? My mother, my father. And Lauren didn't get the perfect royal family she fantasized about, and my revenge wasn't poetic, it wasn't quiet, it wasn't symbolic. It was direct, realistic consequence. They lost social power, the only thing they ever truly cared about. After the ceremony ended, the groom's mother walked up to me privately and said, "Thank you for showing us who we were marrying into before it was too late." A week later, Lauren moved out and stopped speaking to Mom for a while. Wedding fallout blew open fractures they couldn't hide anymore. My parents tried calling me, begging me not to destroy their reputation further. And I answered once. Just once. "You destroyed that yourself the moment you used my face as target practice." Then I blocked them both. I rented my own small place across the city and started my life finally belonging to myself. Not in someone else's shadow. Not as someone else's comparison prop. They said, "Stop trying to be pretty." But I wasn't trying to be pretty. I was trying to be free. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.